this video, I am going to go over everything you need to know about the financial market and retirement planning. I'm not going to go into too much detail on all of it right now. I just want to give you the big picture of what you need to know so that you can actively take charge of your own finances today. I'm going to try to keep it super basic. I'm going to try to go over topics that everyone can understand. I'm going to refer to a lot of sources that people tend to agree with. So popular sources like Warren Buffett's talking and Dave Ramsey, different stuff like that. I'll briefly go over each possible investment vehicle you could potentially use. I'm basically going to eliminate 80% of them as a vehicle you'd ever want to use just by giving you some of the facts about them. And then I'll leave a link to basically everything in this video so that you can kind of go through my links in the YouTube description below and yeah, do the research yourself. Because here's the thing, everything I'm going to show you is super simple to understand. There is no complex math. It doesn't require a strong education. What it requires and what it required from me, and the only reason I believe I'm the only one to ever get this far and make these connections is because for 6 years, I mean, at least one day a week, if not 7 days a week, I am actively Googling, YouTubing, and researching what everyone has to say. I'm number crunching to see if what they're saying checks out on the math. And basically, what I've discovered is everything in this world is super simple. And because nobody really sees the big picture, they can't tell it to you in a way that makes sense. And instead, you have to kind of pick your faction of which one sounds the most truthful, because none of them really agree with each other, right? You get some people saying the Roth is the best. You get some people saying ETFs are the best. You get some people saying that life insurance is the best. You get some people saying real estate is the best. I mean, there's all different types of things. So we'll be going over that. And then lastly, I'm going to show you a little file that's all about my number crunching. And I'm going to show you how $100 a month for 30 years would produce over a $50,000 retirement plan that would last for the rest of your life. So if you're 20 years old right now and you have a job making 30 grand a year, all you got to do is save $100 a month until you're 50 and you'd be good to go. Now, obviously, I'm not an advocate of somebody planning to make $30,000 a year for the next 30 years of their life. I believe you should make more money as the older you get and the harder work you do and the more talented you become in the work that you like to do. But for anyone that feels like life is hard and learning is hard and they don't want to try that hard to work and they would rather enjoy as much of their free time with the people that they love, I get that. And so this whole point is $100 a month could more than replace your entire income today, and you would never have to go back to work. And retiring at the age of 50 is a lot better than all these government plans that say you can't even touch your money till 59 and a half. So here we go. Let's get started. First thing that we will get started with is discussing all the different financial products. Alrighty. So we all know about the savings account. Nothing special there. Basically, no potential for real ROI. I mean, even if you're at a super bank, the best you're ever going to find is somewhere around 1% APR per year. That is weak. That is not where you want your money. I understand that it's liquid and it's safe, but there's a lot of liquid safe places that make a lot more than that, so forget about that noise. Yeah, so savings account. I mean, we all know what that is. We all got one by the age of 8. If you open a checking account, they ask you if you want a savings account too. Nothing special. Checking account, good thing about this is your money's uber liquid. So whether it's cash apps, whether it's your debit card, whether it's wiring money, all these different things, checking account is basically everyone needs one just to do day-to-day interaction in life. So I'm a huge fan of checkings accounts. Everyone should have one. I don't think anyone should own a savings account, really. Money market accounts and CDs. This is for really, I think the only people investing in nowadays are old people. This is for people that are scared of the world and they want something that's actually guaranteed and insured and backed by FDIC insured, all this different garbage. If you understand how the market works, you'll understand that the guarantees that come with this versus the low APR rates, it just doesn't make any sense. Definitely a waste of your time, money, and thought. So now that we've gotten past all of those, we will go ahead and agree that we only need a checkings account, right? Everything else is garbage in the first three. Now we hit here, and I have 4 at bonds, 5 at real estate, 6 at ETF exchange. Before I go on any further, the ETF exchange is simply a hedge fund that is going to invest your money for you and charge you a fee to invest your money. But the only places they can invest your money is bonds, stocks. That's it. Bonds and stocks. Maybe stock options, but I've never heard of an ETF doing that. So bonds and stocks is all they're going to invest your money. So if you know how to invest in bonds and stocks, you can mirror their exact trades and pay nobody nothing for your fees. That's a huge deal. So that's why I got this as a yellow, and I'm not going to do another video. Basically, if it was yellow, it means it's so simple, I'm not going to do another video on it. Where if it's green, I am going to do another video, an individual video, so you can understand more about what those are and how to use them and what they mean. But basically, so we got this as a yellow. So the ones I'm going to do another video on is going to be bonds, real estate, life insurance, 401ks, IRAs, Roth IRAs, capital gains tax plan, and then I'll also be doing a video on stock and stock options. Now let's go back up to bonds, and let's talk about bonds a little bit. So basically bonds, I have in here 1 to 5%. Really, it's like 1 to 10%. But the higher the ROI or the APR they're offering, the more risky it is. Basically, the more secure the investment, the more volume it receives, and the more volume it receives, the more stable the ROI, and the more stable the ROI, the more stable the company, right? So if basically the bond is this, if you have $10,000 and you want to give $10,000 to a company that you trust, they will say, okay, we'll take your $10,000 and we'll guarantee you 5%, 6%, etc. It doesn't matter. There's going to be a maturity date, maturity date where basically every 6 months to a year, depending on the payout ratio, but basically it's typically every 6 months they're going to pay you a portion of the ROI that they owe you. And yeah, bonds are good. So bonds are similar, in my opinion, bonds are similar to savings accounts, CDs, money market accounts, where the ROI is not unlimited and it is defined, but it is very safe. Every major life insurance company, so anyone that has a whole life product or an index universal life, the majority of their money goes into these types of bonds at a 5 to 6% APR. And that's been going on for 30 to, well, some even 100 years. So the whole life's been going on for 100 years, while the index universal life's been going on for 30 years. And they all invest the majority of their money into the bonds, and they have had no problem maintaining the ROI and delivering on what they offer to their clients. So that's a big deal. 1 to 5%. Really, you're looking for that 5 to 6 to 7% is the range that you're looking for. So yeah, we'll get into a little bit more about where that's going to come into play into your retirement plan later. But basically, it's very liquid. So if you're investing in these bonds that are 5 to 6 to 7% that are large companies in the stock market, the only way that you lose your money is if the company goes bankrupt. If the company goes bankrupt, everybody's losing a ton. Like, you rarely see one company go out of bankrupt at a time. And the way that we'll work on our investing, and the bond video I'll show you will be about investing maybe into 10 different companies. And the idea is that if all these companies go bankrupt, anyone that had their money in the ETFs or the mutual funds or the stock market, is when things go bankrupt, everybody's tanking. And so everyone's losing money, so you don't really got to worry about that. But yes, bonds are great. They're going to be a huge part of your retirement plan, and I'll show you that later. Real estate, interesting. The problem with real estate is that people like to count their ROI. So basically, they'll go buy a $100,000 house and put $100,000 down on cash, have no mortgage, and then when they're charging, let's say $700 a month, they're going to add that plus the amount that their house gained in value, which is an average of 4 to 5% a year, to their total ROI, claiming that they're making 15, 16, 17% ROI. The reason that is a fake number is because if you are doing that, if you're a landlord, if you're monitoring and collecting rent and all that stuff, that's taking a massive amount of time out of your day. And it doesn't count the repairs, the bad renters, the amount of money you can lose, all the different stuff. But basically, it's a job, it's more work than it is retirement planning. Retirement planning is something where you put your money in and you never think about it. I mean, maybe once a year you got to check on it type thing. And so real estate, the house itself is really only going to get 4 to 5% appreciation per year, and everything after that, the rental income, because of the work that's involved, I don't like to count that towards the retirement plan, because you could have taken that same time to go work or do something else to where potentially you make even more money. I mean, in my opinion, I can make way more money than that than I could ever make off rental income just by going and working. Yeah, so real estate, it's okay. I mean, it makes sense. Everyone needs a house, and it'll be around for a long, long time. But so does the stock market. The stock market's been around just as long as house has been around practically. So there we go. Real estate is okay, but nothing that you should get excited about. I mean, own a house, no doubt. I believe in property rights and all that good stuff. So good stuff. ETF exchange, again, it's the same. All they're doing is investing in bonds or stocks, and they're charging you a fee to invest the money the way that you can do it yourself if you are educated on how to do it yourself. So no ETFs. We don't care about ETFs. Now, life insurance is basically the same thing as an ETF. It's a little bit different because in the life insurance, well, in the ETF, you're still getting the capital gains tax plan. So I guess really all that's changing between the life insurance and the ETFs is that the life insurance is obviously adding life insurance to the plan, but it's changing the way that it charges you fees. So rather than charging you expense ratio that hits you at the end of every year, regardless if they made or lost you money, the life insurance is going to charge you a lot of money in the first year. And then basically after that, the only thing you're really paying to the insurance company is for the life insurance. And so they actually make a very small amount of money on you after you've paid the first year of fees. That does not mean I'm advocating for life insurance. I don't see much difference between an ETF and life insurance as long as you structure it properly. The problem with life insurance is that 90% of agents sell you based off their commissional goals, not off the best thing for the client. So in their mind, showing you a $30,000 a year for 20 years retirement plan is, in theory, basically the same as showing you a $40,000 a year. Because they only see $10,000 difference, they're like, yeah, that's not that much, but I make, instead of making $2,000, I make $10,000. That's where their mind's at, and that's why you should stay away from life insurance. Bad people in the life insurance industry. Next one, we'll go into the 401k. 401k is probably the most overrated product. So it can, in some situations, be a great product. And let me explain what that is. The 401k can be a great product in the sense that you have in-service distribution, you're getting a company match, and you move your money day one that you start investing into your 401k, you move the money into like an S&P ETF that charges a 0.04% expense ratio. That is the only way that it makes sense to me to collect that extra investment that the company is matching to you. But the problem with 401ks is that the majority of 401ks do not have in-service distribution. And what that means is when you invest into your 401k, the company chooses where your money goes. You do not choose where your money goes. And because the majority of companies have it that way, the reason they have it that way is because they're investing all that money back into their own stocks. And so if you work at Southwest and you're investing a bunch of money in your 401k, it's all going into the 401k stock. Well, any one company can go bankrupt at any time, and there's nothing anyone can say to deny that. I mean, all it takes is a little corruption, a little greed from up top, and the whole thing can come tumbling down. Well, if that happens, you lose 100% of what you saved in your 401k. If your company goes bankrupt and you're investing all your 401k money into your stock, you lose everything. So that main reason why I hate 401ks, but on top of that, the average expense ratio is 2%, where the S&P Vanguard fund is 0.04%. It's literally like 1,000, 2,000% more expense ratio than the Vanguard ETF for the S&P, which is a ton of freaking money. So think about it like this. If I put in $10,000 today, they charge me 2%. That's going to be $200. But if I saved in it for 30 years and now I have $200,000 at the end of every year and it's slowly growing, well, when I have $200,000, that means they're charging me $4,000 every single year to basically just keep my money in one spot and do nothing with it and just hope that it doesn't go bankrupt someday. I'm a huge, just because of that, the 401k, I mean, I know that you might have a good 401k, but most of you guys have a garbage 401k, and most of you have no control over it, and you can't touch it till you're 59 and a half years old. You can only put in $15,000 a year. This is why Dave Ramsey's a joke, because he recommends putting in 15% of your income into these three products, the 401k, the IRA, and the Roth IRA. He only says that because he doesn't understand capital gains tax plan. He doesn't understand a lot of things, but yeah. So the 401k, again, in theory, it could offer you a possible benefit if you're getting a massive company match and you can move it to an ETF with a very low expense ratio. It could make sense. IRA doesn't make sense to me because it could be better than a 401k, because if your 401k is locked in Southwest, but your IRA is when you invest in an IRA, you have full control of where you want to invest it. So the difference between how an IRA could be better than a 401k is that you don't got to worry about the in-service distribution, because your IRA guarantees that you can put the money where you want. So you can guarantee that lower expense ratio. But again, you're still not going to be able to touch your money until you're 59 and a half years old without an additional 10% tax penalty on whatever you take out, which is ridiculous. I mean, I don't know about you, but I do not plan on working my job till I'm 59 and a half. That sounds like a bloody joke. Let's see. Roth IRA, of the three, it's arguably the best because, again, you can put the money wherever you want it to go. So here, when you put money in the 401k and the IRA, let's say I put in $5,000 in my IRA. Well, I get a tax credit on this. And so I get a federal income tax credit. So basically, if I put $5,000 in here, up to $5,000 of my federal tax income, I don't got to pay taxes on. And so if you paid, let's say, 20% taxes on your $5,000, that'd be $1,000. You actually pay $1,000 less in taxes, or you'll get an extra $1,000 back when you do your tax return. And in that case, you could put $6,000 in here for every $5,000 you put in the Roth IRA. Now, again, remember about the expense ratio, and also remember, so the taxes, so the IRA, you save taxes in the beginning, but when you start to take out the money, you get taxed at income tax for anything you take out after. And so in the IRA, the tax at the end works a lot like that expense ratio, where in the beginning it's not really charging you anything because you don't have any money in there. So 1%, 2% of a small amount of money is really nothing. But when you get down to a $200, $300 million account value, your expense ratio and your taxes, what you're taking out, can end up being a ton of money. Where the Roth IRA, I put in $5,000. I didn't get my $1,000 tax credit. It was just $5,000 of my own money that I've already paid taxes on. Now, when I'm 59 and a half, I can take out as much money as I want, whenever I want, and I never pay taxes on any of it. So because of that, that is why they claim the Roth IRA is arguably the best of the three, because you get to choose where you want it, you can choose a low expense ratio, and you also don't pay taxes after 59 and a half. So that kind of makes sense. We don't hate it. Out of the three, I'll agree that it's the best. But in comparison to the capital gains tax plan, so one other thing I'll make a mention of is IRA only allows you to invest like $7,000 a year. Roth IRA is like $5,500 a year. If you're married, I think it might be $6,500, or no, it's based off your age. I think it bumps up to $6,500 a year eventually. Where the capital gains tax plan has no limits whatsoever. So you can basically invest as much as you want into it. It has the same advantages of the Roth IRA, so you've already paid your taxes, and now everything that you take out after, you don't pay taxes on, sort of. So it's actually a capital gains tax plan, and that means it scales similar to like the income tax plan. But if you're married, the first $80,000 of income per year you take out of your capital gains tax plan is no tax. If you're single, it's $40,000. If you're a head of a household, meaning you have dependents in your house, then it's like $55,000. But basically, most people don't plan on taking more than that out of their retirement plans anyways. Let me see. All right, that better not freaking restart on me. All right, so other than that, so the capital gains tax plan, the Roth IRA, the IRA, it's all similar to the ETF, where the only things you can really invest in is bonds and stocks. So if we understand that, the 401k, the IRA, the Roth IRA, capital gains tax plan, life insurance, and ETF exchange, all of these guys right here are investing in the exact same places. The only difference is basically there's four rules. There's the government rules, there's the liquidity rules, there is the ROI potential, and there is, what is the last one? There's the fees. So we got expense ratios to go with the Roth IRA, the 401k, the IRA, and the ETF. We have none of these fees in the capital gain tax plan. So this is where you're logging onto your own brokerage account, your own checking account through E-Trade or Robinhood or any of these stupid places, and you are choosing which ETF or which stocks to buy and which bonds to buy by yourself. And when you do that, you get the most advantages. And the reason why people don't do it is because they don't know how to invest money, even though it's super freaking simple. I'm going to go over some of that too. So, government rules, it's the best in the capital gains tax plan. Liquidity, beautiful thing about the capital gains tax plan is that if I save $50,000 a year for the next 10 years and all of a sudden I got $1 million in my bank account, probably $1.5 million in my bank account, I can retire with a six-figure income 10 years from now, even though I'm 40. I'm 29 now, right? So I'd be 40 years old and I can retire at the age I choose, basically. That's the big deal about capital gains tax plan. Roth IRA, all the other ones, they expect you to go to 60 before you start to enjoy your life or whatever. Makes no sense to me. So I make a higher ROI in my capital gains tax plan because I don't pay any fees, and I'm in the exact same place as the Roth IRA or the 401k or any of these stupid places. So my ROI potential is basically the same plus more because of no fees. I don't have any government regulations on when I can start my retirement, and it is extremely liquid. So the market, the stock market is open between 9:30 a.m. Eastern time to 4 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. Anytime during that, when you follow my strategy, you will be able to, within 10 seconds, take out as much money in your plan as you want and liquidate it into your checking account as fast as you want. So extremely liquid. Capital gains tax plan beats everything by a million years. The reason why no one tells you about it, the reason why Dave Ramsey doesn't tell you about it, the reason why Warren Buffett doesn't tell you about it is because they all own a hedge fund or represent hedge funds or get paid by hedge funds. And if they told you about this and you invested the money yourself, then you pay nobody any fees. And if you're paying no fees to anybody, then they don't have a job, right? They can't tell you to do something that doesn't advertise that there are people that are paying them. That makes sense, right? So capital gains tax plan, it only pays you, pays nobody else. It still allows the companies to use your money and grow as a company. So obviously you're still providing the long-term investing benefit to the stock market, but you're just not paying the financial professionals that all claim to know what they're talking about, but really just want your money. Anyone claiming that they're a retirement planner and that they can help you retire is a scam artist that just wants your money, and they probably don't even understand the capital gains tax plan. Like, that's how dumb they are. Most people, they either understand one of their products or they understand nothing, really. And they understand a little 30-minute sales pitch of how to make you believe that they know what they're talking about. They don't know shoot. Trying not to swear in these videos. We'll see how that goes. Alrighty. So let's take a step back. We know that all the ones that in this video that we said are potentially good, potentially viable. Let's think about how we want to invest in them now. Because I told you stocks and bonds, right? Well, if we know stocks and bonds are the where all the money's invested anyways, then now we need to know which is the right stock to buy, which is the right bond to buy. All this different stuff, right? Well, if we go to Warren Buffett, so in Investopedia, you can just type in Warren Buffett's bet, and it'll come up in 1,000 different articles. But basically, back after the market crash in 2008, 2009, Warren Buffett made a bet. And what he said was that if you calculate the net ROI after fees and actual appreciation in your stock value, that a traditional low-feed S&P linked ETF, for example, Vanguard's S&P 500 Admiral Fund, so this is the one that he made the bet on. Basically, there's this thing called longbets.com where anyone can go and pay money to validate who they are and then put down money on any bet, and then somebody can challenge or accept the bets, and yeah, they hold people accountable to the bets they make. But all the winnings go to a charity. So you basically choose a charity that if you win, where does that money go to which charity? So Warren Buffett won $2 million. I can't remember which charity it was, but he won $2 million for that charity. And the bet was simple. He said, if you take a Vanguard S&P, if you take an S&P fund with a low expense ratio, you will outperform all of the other hedge funds over the next decade. And there's a hedge fund that said, absolutely not. We can definitely beat the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is just basic. Like, why would you invest in something so basic is what they were arguing. When people that are watching the market clearly have the edge to trade and be versatile and win when it needs to be won. Well, if we look at the last, so 2008 to 2016, Fund A, 8.7%, Fund B, 28.3%, Fund C, 62.8%, Fund D, 2.9, 7.9, average hedge fund, 22%, the index fund, 85.4%. Now, this is after the fees. This is after everything's been calculated. So the best hedge fund, the one that beat everybody else, still fell 20% below in a 10-year period. So averaging 2% less per year. Yeah, I don't know how much more I need to explain into this, but basically the idea is that buying and holding is the best thing you can do because you never know if the market's going to go up or down. But what we do know is that the market will always go more up than down, because if it didn't, then that means society collapses. If everything goes to zero, because you're in the S&P 500, the 500 largest companies in the country, if they all go to zero, that means the country went to zero. The wealth of this country is 100% gone. It cannot happen. The only way it happens is if there is no more United States of America and it is anarchy at its finest. So here we can see that you're paying a massive amount of fees and all these guys to get way less money. Why would anyone ever do that? The reason they do it is because the financial professional was all buddy-buddy with somebody that manages a pension fund or this or that and has a bunch of money, and they said, hey, we can handle your money. We got great returns over the last 10 years. But because nobody's connected enough dots, they can't tell great returns from realistic returns or probable returns or expected returns. Like, if you showed someone 62.8% over 9 years, they'd be like, oh, dang, that's pretty good. I can put my money in there. But then when you look at the index fund, you're like, oh, wait, actually, that's trash. Why would I ever pay you a ton of freaking money to get me less money than what the market does on its own? So if you look back on the S&P 500, any 30-year period, the lowest you will ever find as an average annual return is 9.5%. The highest you will ever find is probably about 12.6%, I believe it was. So basically between a 9 and 12% ROI potential, just by going to buying stocks in the S&P 500. I mean, again, some people are putting it in these ETFs, so the Vanguard SP 500 Admiral Fund, that is an ETF. That is where it's a small fee ETF, so the 0.04% ETF is what it is. Expense ratio, but why pay 0.04% when you can pay nothing and just do it yourself? You know what I mean? So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Before we get to that, let's go ahead and talk about Dave Ramsey. So Dave Ramsey says tax-favored retirement accounts. When he says 15% of your income in tax-favored retirement accounts, he's talking about your 401k, IRA, Roth IRA. We've already established that they're all garbage for their own reasons and that the capital gain tax plan is way better. And I'll show you some more math to prove that later. He believes invest in good growth stock mutual funds. So the guy is considered like the guru of secure, modest investing. He doesn't even invest in bonds. He says they're too secure, they're too modest, and that you'll make more money in a stock mutual fund. Well, he's wrong about that, and I'll show you why. But he's also kind of right. He just doesn't have the full picture. He's got half the picture. Keep long-term perspective. So when you're investing money in this, if you have money that you can't afford to lose tomorrow or in a year or 2 years, whatever, then invest it in a bond. If you are saving for retirement, invest it in the S&P 500 and just let it grow. You don't care if it loses 50% next year. That doesn't matter, because if it loses 50% next year, every time we have a massive loss, it rallies like a monster. You just keep throwing your money into this. Anything that you don't care about, that you're not going to need in an emergency situation, keep throwing in. You can always come back to it in an emergency situation, but you need to really consider this as money that you don't ever touch again until you're ready to retire. Know your fees. The fees are killer. 2% expense ratio is the average 401k expense ratio, and it beats you down in the long term. Work with a financial advisor. Terrible advice. Worst advice I've ever heard in my whole life. He's only saying this because he is a financial advisor and he makes commissions off everyone that comes to his show, clicks on his ads, and starts investing with these retard financial advisors. So again, do not work with financial advisors. You can do this all yourself. All right, capital gain tax plan. In a capital gains tax plan, if you are single, well, first, let's take a step back. What is the capital gains tax plan? How do you qualify? You qualify for a capital gains tax plan by investing money that you've already paid taxes on. So if you made $100K this year, you got $10,000 in your bank, you already paid your taxes, that $10,000, if you invest it into the stock market, after it's been in the stock for at least 12 months and 1 day, so a year and 1 day, you are now considered in the capital gains tax plan. In the capital gains tax plan, you can take out whatever you invested at no tax penalty, plus you can take out the amount of profits in this tax bracket. So for example, let's say I put in 100,000, the S&P 500 goes up 40% in 12 months in one day. I would be able to take out all $139,375 at 0% tax. Let me say that again. If I had $100,000 and I invested today, 12 months and a day passes, S&P goes up 40%. I can take out all of my money and pay no taxes on it because I'm in the capital gains tax plan qualified by the time. And as a single person, my first $39,375 of profit from my investment is 0% tax. Okay? Huge deal. If you're married, 78,000. Head of household, 52,000. Huge stuff right here, guys. This is what nobody's telling you. This is what matters. They all claim that the capital gains tax plan is for the wealthy and the rich and the millionaires and the billionaires. But look at this. You take out $1 million next year, you're going to pay a ton of freaking taxes. 20% is not cheap. Anyone that's acting like that's cheap is out of their mind. Because not only did they invest, not only are they taking out this money and have they already paid taxes on the money they invested, but they also invested into a stock market, into businesses, into generating more income in society, into growing society. That is why the government is giving us the advantage of this, is because we put our money in a way that helps everybody. So if you are a conservative means person and you don't want to make a lot of money because you don't want to work as hard as everyone else is working because you think that's a sellout of what life is really about, the capital gains tax plan benefits you more than it benefits the rich person because you will be able to take out as much money as you need to tax-free and survive. Come on, I don't know how else to say this, guys. You guys need to wake up. So now that we know that, let's go ahead and look at a little bit of number crunching. This is what if you're saving $100 a month, that is so easy to save. Anyone that says they can't save $100 a month just is not trying, and you are a victim in everything you do in your life, and I got no respect for you. Zero respect for you. $100 a month. If I'm 20 years old, just got out of high school, let's say 22 years old, just got out of college, all I got to do is save $100 a month for 30 years. You see this? $1,200 for 30 years. Look at my account balance. I go from $1,356 to $2,888 to $4,619 to $6,576. Very small amounts of money, nothing huge. But after 30 years, I've got $400,000. So we got $36,000 invested, and now I got $400,000. Now, if you look, I'm assuming no taxes. Well, the taxes doesn't matter because we haven't taken any money out yet, but I'll get into that after. But no expense ratio, because I'm going to show you how to invest this money yourself. I'm going to show you how to, if you get an E-Trade account, any of these stupid Ameritrade account, any of these brokerages, if you get one of their accounts, you'll be able to invest this money and not pay any expense ratio to anybody. When you buy the stock yourself and you're owner of a stock, you don't pay fees to people. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And then right here, I got 13% gain. Now, I told you that it was 9 to 12%, right? So I should be illustrating 9%. But the reason I got 13% in there is because I have taken the big picture of everything that we have disposable to our resources. All of our resources through E-Trade, Ameritrade, all the rules that they've set, the government has set. I've exposed the secret to long-term investing that nobody else has been able to discover. And it's because none of these financial professionals are actually financial professionals actually studying their industry. Rather, they are all salespeople, and they are just trying to get people to invest money with them because that is how they make their living. Okay? So I'm going to show you how to get 13% per year average ROI every single year. Now, let's see here. If we do that, and we get this 13% per year, Now you'll be, so let's go ahead and Google this one real quick because this is important. 5% rule. Okay, the 5% rule, which is more of a guideline than an actual financial industry regulatory authority regulation, stipulates that a broker may charge commission percentages by 5%. Okay, that is not what I was looking for. 5%. Oh, okay, maybe it's the 4% rule, even worse. The 4% rule is the rule of thumb used to determine how much a retiree should withdraw from a retirement account each year. This rule seeks to provide a steady income stream to the retiree while also maintaining an account balance that keeps income flowing through retirement. Basically, what they're trying to say here is that once you hit 30 years of savings and you're ready to start retiring, that you should then take all your money out of the stocks and throw them into a bond at 4 to 5%. And only take out 4% and basically never let your account balance ever drop from the highest it ever reached. Why would they tell you to do that? Maybe it's because they want to charge the maximum expense ratio to all your fees and they don't want you to actually take out your money. Maybe that's why. Well, the whole idea behind this garbage 4% rule is that you couldn't afford a down year once you hit your retirement and you can't afford to lose money. Well, if you crunch numbers, if you are able to crunch numbers, you will see clearly that the 4% rule is garbage and that you can have, so if I take out $50,000 here and this did 0%, and then this did 0%, and then this did 0%, check this out. Like, I'm still able to take out $50,000 every single year, even though I just hit 3 zeros in a row while I'm taking out $50,000 a year, which was more than 11% of my actual account balance. This whole 4% rule is total garbage. Nobody's ever crunched the numbers to prove that it's total effing garbage. That one gets me probably more angry than any of them. Anyways, the whole point in this was to show you that $1,200 a year for 30 years at the 13% rate would produce a $400,000 account balance. You take out $50,000 a year, and if you look at the account balance, it's actually slowly increasing, basically staying the same the whole time. So taking out more than 10% of your account balance, you have created a true, awesome retirement plan. And if you're only able to save $100 a month, then it's likely this $50,000 a year that you're taking out tax-free is a lot more than what you were making per year. If you're only able to save $100 a month, you probably weren't making $50,000 a year. That's my opinion. And if you are making $50,000 a year and you can't find a way to save $1,200 a year, then you are being a child with zero accountability for what matters to you. And you don't actually care about retirement. You don't care about anything but the present time right now, and that is a sin. Alrighty. Self-accountability, self-responsibility, that is what this video is all about. Teach you how to do it yourself so that you no longer have to pay people garbage money, but you also have faith in the future that you're building and you're willing to commit to it because you understand it and you're in control and nobody does it for you and you don't have to count on what ifs. Rather, you just count on yourself doing what you told yourself you would do. It's just that easy, guys. So how are we going to hit this 13% average ROI? That's a great question. This is the answer that nobody has given but me. You'll only hear it here, and it's not that special. It's not that complex. It's just I'm the only one to come out with it and give it to you like this is because I've been studying the entire financial market for 6 years, and in this last year, I have mastered stocks, stock options, and bonds, and with that mastery, the idea just kind of popped in my head, and then when it popped in my head, I started thinking about it, and I was like, wait a minute. 13% a year, like nobody says 13% a year because game changing. So how are we going to do it? Well, I'm assuming that the S&P 500 is only going to give me 9% a year. If you go to Ameritrade margin rules. We should be able to find a PDF margin handbook. All right, let's see. Prime responsibility trading on margin, margin requirements, day trading, margin calls, portfolio margin, selling stock, withdrawals, substitutions or selling bonds and debt securities, options, buying equities, options, equity spreads, index options, special statement, options exercise. All right, so it's probably going to be, let's just go through here and see. So what I'm looking for is the simple little quote that tells me I get 10 times the margin when I invest in stocks. So if you look right up here, this guy said, basically I can do 1,000 shares, 50,000, equity value 8. No, that's not right. Let's see here. Alright, let's look for it. You can find it in here. I just don't want to read the whole thing again. I've already read it once and I don't want to do it again. Maximum stock margin. Alright. That's garbage. So basically there's 4 different levels of accounts. There's option 1, option 2, option 3, or level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. And once you hit level 4, it's basically called portfolio margin. See if that fixes my problem. There it is. I just want to see the thing that tells me 10 times. Because that is what it is. Alright, well, it doesn't look like we're going to find it super quick here right now, so I don't want to get into it right now. I'll do another video on the margin for you guys. But basically, the idea is that you can leverage up to 10 times your money into stocks. Not stock options. Stock options are already leveraged on their own, and so that's all about the most you can lose or win based off a certain amount of movement is the most that you can margin your leverage your money. But when it comes to stocks, so let's say the S&P 500, which is the SPY. So the SPY is the stock symbol for the S&P 500. Right now it's roughly $310 per stock. Okay, so if I have $10,000, it would be this guy. Oops. This guy divided by this guy number of contracts. So if I have $10,000 in my stock account, basically if I bought 32 contracts at $310 per stock, then the 32 contracts equals $10,000. Now, because I'm buying stock and because I have a portfolio margin account, I can actually buy 10 times this amount, 322, which is $100,000 worth of stocks. but while only having $10,000 in my stock account or in my brokerage account. So if the S&P 500 goes up 1%, my 10,000 would change to 11,000. If it went down 1%, my 10,000 would drop to 9,000. Now the idea is that if I got $10,000 in my stock account, that means I got $90,000 in my 90,000 in my bond account. So assuming I got $100,000 total, all right, if I got $100,000 total in my account balance, I'm going to put 10% of it into my stock account balance, and then I'm going to put 90,000 into my bond account balance. Now my bond equals this times 1.05. Boom. Profit. Let's call it gain. ROI gain equals this minus this. So I made $4,500 off my bond that year because I was getting 5% APR, annual percentage rate. I made $4,500. Now if my 10,000, which is actually 100,000, gains 9%, which is the average that it will gain, I make ROI gain equals this guy minus this guy. So now I take the total gain, which is going to be this guy plus this guy, and then I compare this guy to this guy, right? And in order to calculate the percent of gain, you take the new price, which is going to be this guy plus this guy, minus the old price, divided by the old price. And we get a 13.5% ROI. If we look right here, I assumed a 13% ROI. This little magic recipe right here is what nobody else in the world is doing, what everyone in the world should be doing. You're welcome. Now, the last thing I'm going to do in this video is give you a brief show on how to buy the stocks and the bonds. I'll only be able to actually show you the stocks, but I'll show you what the bond page looks like, and then in later videos I'll show you everything in more detail. Okay, so I come here. I'm going to go to my paper trading account. And inside here, we are going to see that I'm already on the SPY, which is the SPDR S&P 500 ETF. And when I hit enter, or when I hit trade, it's going to come up to this guy. So if we see the price is 310, I'm going to go ahead and change this to market. Using a limit order to buy stocks is kind of lame. You'd only do that if there was a massive spread, but if you look at the bid and ask spread between this, basically it costs you 1 penny for every $310.98 that you want to invest. You got to pay 1 penny in a difference, which is 0.0001%, like the absolutely nothing. Don't even count it as a fee. I'm not counting it as a fee. So if we remember what that other thing told us, it said 322 would be $100,000. So if I only had $10,000 in my account, I would be able to come here and buy 322 contracts for $100,000. I hit preview. Oh, that's so dumb. E-Trade's paper account is a piece of garbage. It's telling me I don't got the money, but watch. If I put in 20 contracts, It's $6,000. It's going to tell me insufficient funds. Now if I come to summary, it's telling me that my funds is 99,194. How the fuck is it telling me I got insufficient funds to buy $6,000 worth of stock? E-Trade is a piece of freaking garbage. Their customer service sucks. Everything sucks about them. They can answer general questions about government regulations very well, but they know absolutely nothing about the stock market, and all their software on paper trading is an absolute joke. Every time that this happens, I got to call them and have them reset it, and then it works for a couple days, and then it breaks on me again. But again, you don't need to see me hit that execute the trade. All you need to see is that when I come here, I hit paper trade. Right now, it's already on stocks, so I can either buy or sell. If you sell, you're betting that it goes down, but we never do that because this is all about long-term retirement savings, and we're always betting that it'll go up because the market proves that it will always go up. Even when it comes down, the more it comes down, the more likely it's going to go up later, because it can never hit zero without America hitting zero, without America ceasing to exist. So again, you come here, you take whatever this number is, you divide it by the amount that you actually want to buy. And if you had $10,000, if you had $100,000 total account balance between your bonds and your stocks, then you'd want to buy that much worth of stocks. Okay, so take the 90% of bonds plus the 10% of stocks, take that total number. That's the number of stock value you want to purchase. All you got to do is hit preview, then send, and within 10 seconds, your stocks will be purchased. And then if you already have stocks purchased and now you're in your retirement years, all you got to do is hit sell, and then the same number of stocks, or it could be maybe you only want to do 20 of the stocks that you have. Maybe you only want $6,000 of the 100,000 that you have in there. Then I hit the 20, I hit preview, I hit send, boom, I get my $6,000 back. Just that simple. In the bonds, let's forget about this guy. Come up to here, and I go to, where's my bonds at? Trading. Bonds and CDs, you'll see they're in the same spot because they're basically the same thing, just the CD is really just the FDIC insured version of a bond. If I click on this guy, it's going to take me to the bond desk. Now, you probably want to stay away from high yield corporates and stay in somewhere in like investment grade bonds. I wouldn't worry too much about the ratings. I would more focus on large nationwide companies, and I would focus on find 10 of them that you like that are all between 5 and 6%. And then throw in 10%. So if you're 90% value, throw in 10% into 9 different bonds. Rather than 10, do 9. And all around the same ROI rate. The credit ratings are really kind of a joke. So the credit ratings are more based off so like for example, banks have really high credit ratings, insurance companies have really high credit ratings, but if I put my money in an insurance company, they're just going to turn around and invest into a smaller, lower rated bond that gets them the 5% thing that we want. And they're allowed to claim it as a AAA or a AA or a single A credit rating because that's what the insurance company's credit rating is. So because they're an actual fiduciary investor for you, they're allowed to replace the actual bond rating with their rating. That's what's called a credit default swap. And it's a total joke. And so don't really worry too much about the credit rating as long as it's a big, large company and as long as the ROI or the yield is between 5 and 6%, you're good to go. So if I was to come here, okay, I could come here. So each one is $124.90. I got to buy at least 5 of them and up to 250 of them. So this can be 5 to 250, whatever your number is, times that by this number, hit preview, submit. It's going to take that money from your account and invest it in there. They're extremely liquid. Again, you can always come back in and sell it out if you want to, but you don't have to. Yeah, it's super simple, guys. So you put 90% of your money into 9 different bonds here. Go put your 10% in the stock account and leverage that up 10 times the amount. If the stock market starts to drop, you can have 2 different ways of looking at it. If it drops 10%, you can say, okay, I'm done investing in stocks for the year, and I'm going to let my bonds finish out and get their 5% and bring my account balance up to 95% of what I had last year, and then redo the 90%. Or you can come in here and sell out 10% of the 90% and throw in that other 90% back into the stocks and get going back where you were before. And just assume that after that 10% drop that it's going to start rallying back. Because if you take some of the money out of the bond and put it right back in, and that 10% comes all the way back to break even in the stock market, then you would have broken even throughout the year. Plus you would have still made the 4% on the bond. But the whole point behind this is that everyone's already investing their money in the S&P 500. Okay, it's the #1 investment tool across all hedge funds, off everybody. They're just investing, they're throwing money into the indexes, which is just so the S&P 500 is basically when you buy stock in that, you own a little bit of stocks in all 500 companies that make the S&P 500. So they're still using your money, they're still getting the value out of it. It's all good for everybody. Yeah, guys, this will change your life if you take the time to understand what I'm teaching here. And you start investing your money this way. There's no better way to make money, and I wish you guys the best of luck. Last thing I actually do want to say is that I would love to create a brokerage that allows people to invest their money or fund their money and then click a couple buttons that say, I want to be in this plan or this plan or this plan, and I create a couple plans for you guys that automatically do all this for you without charging you any fees. And yeah, like the true America's retirement brokerage is what I would love to create for you guys. But I imagine I would need at least $1 million for that. So if you guys want to donate money to me, first off, if you guys are going to use this plan, if you see the value in this plan and you're like, dang, that is way better than what I'm doing right now, investing in the S&P 500 just blindly. If you see that value and you're going to start taking advantage of this, you should really be donating me money, because I'm going to make you millions of dollars over your lifetime that you wouldn't have made without me. So you should really think about donating some money, because I'm the only guy that's trying to learn enough to really save this world by showing the world that everything we need to know is super simple. I didn't go to college. All I did is chase opportunities. I lived in 8 different states since I was 18 to 26, and now I'm back in Arizona. I built a 8-figure roofing company business, and I hated every minute of it, but I did it because I had to. My back was against the wall, and that's when I do my greatest things. Is when I put myself in a situation, I challenge myself, I get my back against the wall, and then I come out with something amazing. And that is what I've done with the stock. I mean, I've done way more with the stock options than I have this, but this is something that I can share with everyone, and everyone can understand it today. And I hope you guys appreciate the information, and you like, subscribe, and donate a little bit of money, because I'm going to save this world if you guys give me the power to. I think that's all I got for you guys. Yeah, so I'll do a couple more videos where I'll go more into bonds, more into stocks. I will, what else? More into bond, more into stocks. I'll do probably one on the real estate. And then I'll probably do one on life insurance, and then I'll do one on stock options. And the stock options, those are for people who already know a lot about the financial industry. Basically, with the stock options, I'm going to show a couple strategies that kind of gives you an idea of how to backtest data, how the data works, how the theta works, how the implied volatility works, what's the single best SPY option trade that you can make that's repeatable every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's a huge one. I've already kind of posted a video on that, but I feel like maybe I was a little overexcited and didn't really get out the message I was trying to get out. And that may be one of my weaknesses. So if you see any ways you can help me, if you like to build content and you see all this invaluable content that you could build and advertise and make big, like I don't like this stuff. I do it because I feel like I have to and nobody else is doing it. But I would rather be the guy that's finding out the real stuff and then giving it to the guy that knows how to launch the message. You know what I mean? Yeah, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, donate money. Do it.